Parasha Bo, Tafshin Pei Beis. Usually we always start dwelling with the first pasuk. This time we're going to start with the second pasuk because it's really striking and teaching us something that everybody questions himself. Kadosh Baruch Hu is asking us two opposite things: to fear him and to love him. They usually don't go together, these emotions. They contrast. How can you love someone that you fear? And how can you fear someone that you love? Ask children if they really fear their parents. They don't. You fear your friend? No, you like him. Do you love someone you really fear? No, you cannot. So how can we at the same time love HaKadosh Baruch Hu and fear him? Now, I'm going to dig in the question a bit deeper, and I'm going to go into everybody's heart. And it's definitely a question that remains with people for ages. We say in the second pasuk of the Shema, Ve'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha. Love Hashem. It's impossible. I have a body. I live in this world. And naturally, this body is attracting me to whatever shines in this world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu asks me to become spiritual. How can I do both? How can I live in this body and at the same time become a spiritual being that really is going to get connected to Hashem? How can I get to a point that, like a bug to the light at night, he's attracted. So I don't want to initiate the love. I want to be attracted. I want it to come naturally. A person is attracted to the light. So where is this light so I can be attracted to it? That's the real question. Otherwise, the body tells you, you know what? You can't go to daven in the morning. You have a reason. I have a deal, and this deal I'm waiting for a long time. I have to make parnasa. It's a mitzvah d'oraisa. Kadosh Baruch Hu, please understand. To be polite. How do we resolve those issues in a clear manner with a clear path to be able to first to comprehend what's asked from us, and number two, to be able to do it full-heartedly without any question? Exactly like this bug that's attracted to the light at night. That's the message we're going to dig out from the second pasuk of this parasha. First pasuk says, Boyar Paro, go to Paroi. I'm not going to go into the question of that pasuk. We're just going to translate from 10,000 feet. Kiani ichbati es liboy, because our heart in his heart, ves levavadav, and the heart of his servants, for the purpose of being able to send my makos, all the boifsim, into his inside him, not on the outside. Hashem doesn't want to punish them on the outside, but on the inside. Okay. Strange thing. It's very strange. We'll see why. The second pasuk goes, Ulman, and also not only for the reason that I want to be able to strike them, but I also want you to recount these to your children and grandchildren. What? As Asher his alalti, Rashi explains, Sachakti, the fun I had punishing them. Honestly, that's a chinuch. You want me to teach my children and my grandchildren that, you know what? It was fun to punish the Mitzrim. It was, and I'm going to teach you, when someone does something bad to you, go ahead and knock him on the head. Is it mutar? Okay, it says in the pasuk, lo yisikoim velo yisitoir. You should not revenge. As b'nei amecha, it's true, it says about Bnei Israel. But look in the mitzvah, in the Sefer HaChinuch, mitzvah Resh Mem Aleph, and you'll see. The real attitude of a Jew is when something bad happens to him, he lifts up his eyes and says, this comes from Hashem. I do not revenge. So, what is the pasuk telling us? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to strike them with a vengeance. I understand they've been behaving very bad to the Bnei Israel. But who allowed it? Hashem. So what do you want to strike them with such a hatred? Yes, you did promise to Avraham Avinu, vegames hagoy asher yavoidu don anoichi, and even the nation that will enslave them, I will judge them. Okay, judge them by vengeance, teaching vengeance to the children, and the pasuk, the main verb that comes out of this pasuk is the fun, isalalti, that Hashem had fun punishing them. What is the pasuk telling me? And then the pasuk ends, vidatem ki ani Hashem, and you will know that I am Hashem. Honestly, there's no other way to show us and to basically put it in our mind. Vidatem is from the word das, so we comprehend. Veyodata hayom, we said in Aleinu, and you will know today, ki Hashem hu Elohikim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yud Ke Vav Ke, is Elohikim. What it means like this. Hashem is in the upper worlds. It's a name which is on the upper worlds. This world is controlled by the name Elohikim. But who is Elohikim, says the pasuk, is Hashem. Don't think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is remote and not, we'll see that in the Zohar a bit later, and not controlling every aspect of this world. No. En oid milevado. There's nothing besides Hashem in the world. Okay, this I can understand. But having fun at the expense of the Egyptians, according to the mitzvahs of the Torah, this I don't understand. This I don't understand. How is supposed to ingrain in our head that this is Hashem? Honestly, even if a human being, even if a human being would behave like this, that would not draw love. That would draw a little bit of rejection, actually. So how can we be drawn to Hashem through these makos in Egypt, through the plagues? On the other hand, the Midrash says next week in Parashat Beshalach, when the Mitzrim crossed, after the Jews, they crossed the Yam Suf and they drowned, it was daybreak, it was time for the malachim to say their shira, their daily song to Hashem. And that day Hashem said, don't sing to me. Why? What happened, Hashem? We have to sing every day. So why is it that we could not sing to Hashem, the malachim could not sing to Hashem that day? They couldn't say shira. He says, the Midrash says, because my creatures are drowning in the water and you want to sing to me? Hold it 1 second. That contradicts our pasuk. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has pity on the Egyptian to the point that in Shamayim that day, there was no shira. But you're telling me you had fun. So you didn't like them, you hated them, you came out at them with a tremendous vengeance. So when they drown in the ocean, what changed? What were you sad? Why were you refraining from letting the malachim? Why did you refrain the malachim from saying Shira? Doesn't make any sense. Besides, in Parasha Shmois, we're going to see through the history, through the Torah, this notion of vidatem, you should know. It's going to be repeated to us in every form, shape and form, with every possible mitzvah. By the man, vidatem ki ani Hashem Elohekechem. You should know that I am Hashem, your God. It's every time we're going to speak about Mitzrayim, we're going to repeat it and we're going to repeat it. And even to the point that HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Parasha Shmois, he wanted the Mitzrayim to understand that at the beginning. He says, Ve'yadu Mitzrayim ki ani Hashem. And Mitzrayim will know that I am Hashem. Whoa. These bad people that enslaved the Bnei Israel and that spilled blood in rivers, so you want them to know that you are Hashem? Why would you want them? What's the point? We will see. We try to explain this notion of knowing Hashem, what it means also knowing, and what's the resultant of the knowledge, recognizing Hashem. Where are you once you've done this? Are you in the same world? Are you not in the same world? Are you the same person or a different person? What is that knowledge brings you, and where does it shoot you up to? Because you're not staying in your shoes. You are rocketing up. We will see from the Zohar, from the Ari HaKadosh in the Etz Chaim, we're going to see from the Rishonim, we're going to see from the Midrashim, and the Gemaras. So nobody says, this is only Kabbalah, this is not this, or this is Hasidus. I'm going to show you every aspect of it, and you will see they all point in exact same direction on the exact same message, and we will understand this message. So let's go around a little bit explaining this notion. The previous Parasha, Parashas Va'era, the Zohar ends up with a very interesting quote. Moshe comes to Hashem. We spoke about it last week, so we're not going to go into it again. Lama hare oisal amazeh. What did you do bad to these people? The Zohar explains the complaint of Moshe Rabbeinu as, I am very much afraid that the Egyptian will terminate them. It's not human to be able to survive such an enslavement. It's not human. They will all die. Moshe was very alarmed. He was panicked. Hashem appeared to him in the sneh. Hashem showed him, you see, Moshe, that fire that doesn't burn that bush? The fire is the Egyptian. The bush is the Jews. The Egyptian will not be able to consume the Yidden. They will not be able to finish the Am Yisrael. They may kill some of them, but they will not be able to take us down. Hashem told him even more. Even the fire of Gehinnom, which is a fire that eats fires, when the Reshaim of the Bnei Israel, they're going to be judged there, that fire cannot even burn them. It's only going to purify them. Like the malachim that deep in Nahar Dinoir, it's a Nahar of fire, and the malachim, when before they come to Hashem, they go deep themselves in the Nahar Dinoir. So don't worry. There's nothing to worry. Remain calm. I have everything in control. The fire of the Egyptians won't burn the Bnei Israel. And the Zohar ends up with a quote, praise are the Bnei Israel, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu called them son. Banim atem lashem Eloikechem. You are children to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, your God. Tremendous pasuk. I mean, we have a proximity to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that is the proximity of a son. Sometimes the son doesn't always behave properly with his father, doesn't, like a bit of respect or whatever. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you are my son. The same way a father accepts that, it doesn't really affect him. That also HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Ari HaKadosh says something tremendous. Tremendous in that time. He says, we know there are the four kinds of living creatures, living things. Doimem, those who don't speak, like a stone. Above you have tzomeach, things that grow. In between with them, there is one thing, which is called almoigim. Almoigim is corals. Coral, it's not a doimem, it's not a tzomeach. It's in between. Now, between a plant and an animal, there is one thing. The Ari says there's a creature called a dog that is attached by the umbilical cord to the ground and lives basically from the ground. It's not an animal, it's not a plant. It's in between. Interesting, the Tiferet Yisrael on the Mishnah in Kilayim calls that animal an orangutan. Didn't have much time to dig it out. Why is he calling it an orangutan or not? But he calls it the orangutan. But according to the Arizal, it's like a dog and is attached to the ground. Between an animal and a human, there's also something in between, which is the monkey. It's not really fully an animal, and it's not really fully, because he can teach him things, it's not human. So this is in between. Now, between the human and the angels, there's also something in between. It's us, the Bnei Israel. We're not really human, and we're not really angels. We're in between. As the Gemara says in Yevamis, Omar Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says in the Gemara of Yevamis, on the pasuk in Yecheskel, Atem Tzoini, you are my flock. Vetzoin Marisi, and the flock that I shepherd. Adam Atem, you are Adam. So you normally in Hebrew we call a person, a human, a Ben Adam, son of Adam, because we all the sons of Adam Arishon. No, the Jews are all Adam, all on the same level, which is one level under angel. So we see from here the tremendous relationship and proximity we have to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And with all this, we have tremendous difficulties to connect. Why? Where are we missing the connection? Usually, the closer you are to the light, the more light you get, the less obscurity. But it seems to be we are in more obscurity than other nations. Why is it that way? Where is the light? Where is our proximity? And how do I get closer to the light? But willingly, not by digging my heels in the ground and, oh my gosh, we have to go to shul. It's cold in New York. It's 26 degrees. And you know what? It is freezing, yes. But we have to go to shul. I'm opening a parenthesis. For who? Because people think it's for Hashem. People have no clue that davening is for you. Everything you do in davening, everything you get in shul is for you. Hashem called you to come to shul so he can bless you. Oh, you prefer to go and face life on your own? Hashem step back, say, show me what you can do. You want the driver's seat? Take the driver's seat. Show me what you can do. How much in Hasidus, the big rabbis, and how much Dari HaKadosh himself writes about this mistake. People think they can accomplish. I forgot who the mother of who he was. One of the big, I don't know if he was the mother of the Chassam Sofer. When she was traveling, she was hiring a minion. So she should never pray without a minion. A person is not a person without going to shul. The Zohar teaches us that in the morning when we say Elohikai Neshama, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu returned our Neshama, yes, the Neshama stick up to the nose, but doesn't get in. Oh, at which time it gets in? When we say Baruch Hu es Hashem HaMevoirach. Now we are an Adam. Most people already are starting having a little bit of an idea. Most people live with what? With the neshama on the outside. They're Bnei Adam. They live like Goyim. They don't live like Jews. They live like Goyim. A Jew has his neshama inside. How do I get my neshama inside? When I say Baruch Hashem HaMevoirach Le'olam V'oed. By the way, tonight also I'll give you a sgula from remind me if I forget before the end of the shir from the Shimshon Mostropoli, Hashem in Kem Damo. Mind-boggling. Anyway, we'll see that toward the end of the shir. So I'm closing in the parentheses about shul, but every mitzvah that we do, the real beneficiary of that mitzvah is us, not Hashem. I'm putting on tefillin. Bothering, it's gripping my arm, it's cold, or it's hot, or I'm in a rush and I just don't want to think about it feeling. If you would know the power of tefillin and what they can do, it's like going in Switzerland and you have to cross the country with all these mountains. Now you wear tefillin while you walk and all the mountains are flattened. What would you do? You would wear tefillin. You would wear tefillin with kavanah. This is what happens to a Jew. A Jew has to know that every mitzvah HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us to protect us, to bless us, to give us every time something extra. So the Zohar HaKadosh goes from there and explains that the first mitzvah in the Torah is to get to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he gives a few reasons. Why is it so important to get to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu? First of all, to know who you worship. Who you worshiping HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but who is HaKadosh Baruch Hu? You need to know. You need to be able also, once you get to know him, you're going to feel his presence at every moment. You never feel alone. You're always going to feel HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with you. It's a tremendous feeling, but it is concrete. It will enable you not to believe in the power of malachim or the mazalis, the astrology, nothing at all. You will believe only in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but not believe. in a way of, oh, I believe. Someone has the microphone on, please turn it off. So the belief you're going to have is beyond the scope of a doubt. Someone tells you, nah, you will get out of here. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu everywhere. You will not believe in the forces of nature anymore. These are going to be remote. You're not going to believe a second in those forces. They have no force unless HaKadosh Baruch Hu provide them force. So Bnei Israel, what happened is when they were in Mitzrayim, they didn't know HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Zohar says. They lost track. You know, like us today, who's HaKadosh Baruch Hu? We don't know. We don't know. So how do I get close? What's the path? I don't know. But everything is written down, Baruch Hashem. They were before the Torah was given. So you can understand, you know, that they lost through the hardship of the Avdus, the enslavement, they lost their heritage. That was, you know, through Yaakov Avinu and the Shvatim and everything, they lost it. Us, we have the books. It's written and it stays with us. So, what was it? They thought at the beginning when Moshe Rabbeinu came and did these miracles, they thought, you know what? We have a guy that's stronger than Paro in sorcery. Great. That's what right away Moshe says, no. Everything is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And let me teach you who's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now we're going in the path of light. Vidatem, you will know without a doubt, because the das, it's something, once it's here in the head of someone and he knows it clearly, it's there's no doubt possible. The light is in the head. And once you know it with your light, you will know that Hashem is HaKadosh Baruch Hu that took us out of Egypt. Rabbeinu Bachaye also brings this, it's a Rishon, the Talmid of the Ramban, HaKadosh, that there's a mitzvah to be choiker. Choiker means to look after, to search hard, to get to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as we say, ve'yodato hayoim, you will know today, you must know. So every time we say this in davening, we kind of, not really on the very trustworthy when we say we know Hashem. We don't know. Once you know it, you can put it in your heart. Now you can put, so even the Yetzer Hara that's in the heart, because the Ari HaKadosh says there are two, I forgot the word, in the heart, the two, there's two sides. Okay, there's the left and the right. Oh, I have the word here. And once is inhabited by the right one by the Yetzer HaTov, and the left one by the Yetzer Hara. So once you get anything you get knowledge of and you bring it to your heart, you don't get tempted anymore about that thing. Whenever that thing is clear, you don't get tempted anymore. So you have to go, and there's a pasuk every time when we take out the Torah, we say, Ata har eisala das, ki Hashem hu Elohikim. You appeared, ladas, so for us to know that Hashem is Elohikim, meaning we're never gonna mistake that the forces of nature are only basically a continuation of, or from the force of Hashem, of Yud Ke Vav Ke, Ki Hashem hu Elohikim. We say that every time we open the Aron HaKodesh, Atar Reis Aladas. You see the importance, that word is repeated countless times in the Torah, the chiyuv, the obligation to know that Hashem hu Elohikim. The Gemara says in Avodah Zarah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't come with a grievance with his creatures. Because we're going to ask a strong question here. Now we understand that really, even HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that there's a requirement for knowledge of Hashem. Okay, the Mitzrim were raised in a different world where prevailed sorcery. How can you punish them? What have they done so wrong? Yes, they behave nastily, but this is who they are and what they've learned. They've never learned any better. And the Gemara says HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't come with grievances with these creatures. But it is a massive grievance, those 10 plagues. They were massive. So why didn't you cut them a slack? What happened to the Mitzrim that this doesn't apply to them? HaKadosh Baruch Hu warned them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu required from them to know and to admit that He is Hashem. For another shir, I'll explain the tremendous knowledge of Paroi in the names of Hashem and how he plays in the pasuk, showing that Medina, meaning even according to the celestial justice, he's right to keep the Jews. He has the right, full right. You cannot take them away. Moshe Rabbeinu, you cannot take them away. But again, I don't want to get out of and that's the reason every plague is measure for measure. He sinned here, he got exactly that. Dam came for a reason. Tefadeya for another reason, but exactly like a mamish, a shoe that fits your foot like a glove. There's tremendous story from Reb Shimshon Mostropoli on this. But we're going to leave it. So where do we see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu warned the Egyptian? If you take V'yodu Mitzrayim ki ani Hashem, that's the commandment HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave. They should know, the Mitzrayim, that I am Hashem. V'yodu Mitzrayim equals 476. 476, it's 7 times Chaim, life. Why? Because the attributes that manage this world are 7. And all the 7 would agree, if they had recognized the power of Hashem, they would agree to provide them life. That's why 7 times life. The Yodu, if they would know, he give them 7 times lives. Ki ani Hashem. What it means, Ki ani Hashem? That I am Hashem. What it means, Hashem? Hashem is asking for the emes. Ki ani Hashem equals 117. 13 times 9. 9 being the number of the emes. Emes is 441. 4 and 4, 8 plus 1, 9. Whichever number you multiply it, the 9 comes to 9. So this is with the 13 attributes. They should know HaKadosh Baruch Hu will not provide them life or cut them a slack unless they know fully and trust and admit that He is Hashem. So Hashem didn't come with grievance to them. He warned them. You need to admit. They did not admit. The Ari HaKodesh says that the Mitzrim, with all their bestial behavior, they pagmu. They affected the first letter, the letter Yud of the name of Hashem. Actually, there are 4. I'm not going to go into this, the Galuyas, but I'm going to lose you. So the Mitzrim, because of their immoral and totally out of place behavior, they affected the letter Yud of Hashem. So they have for their tshuva, they're required to repair the letter Yud. Okay, that's what Dari says. How? I mean, you leave me hanging in the middle here. Now, I want to show you something. Can you see? You see on top, Veyodu Mitzrayim. The pasuk we said before, equal 476. If you take the letter Yud and expound it, Yud, Vav, Dalet, because they are affected the inside of the Yud, this equals to 476. Exactly the word of Dari HaKadosh. So we know that the Yodu Mitzrayim, the requirement that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made is for them to make tshuva. Because when you make tshuva, automatically the sins are being shoveled, away, and automatically there's a tikkun. So now, in our pasuk, you required vidatem ki ani Hashem, and you will know that I am Hashem. What it means, you will know that I am Hashem? We ask the question. Vidatem, the word vid, you should know, or you will know, equals exactly 530, which equals exactly Yimloich Hashem le'olam Eloikayich Tzion. What are we required to do on Rosh Hashanah in order to gain our year? And so our tshuva, we all say to be mamlich HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What it means to be mamlich HaKadosh Baruch Hu? To feel that he is the king of all the worlds. It's his world. He created them from nothingness. He made something appear. It's him, nothing else. Ki ani Hashem Eloikechem, that you should know that I am Hashem, your God. Equals 223. Exactly like the word and oid milevado. You remember before we said in Aleinu that the yodato hayom v'ashevoiso alevavecha, you will put in your heart ki Hashem hu Eloikim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the God, and oid milevado, there's no one else. What do you mean there's no one else? It means you have to integrate within yourself. Ki ani Hashem Eloikechem. I am HaKadosh Baruch Hu, your God. This is en oid milevado. Not, en oid milevado. There's nothing else on the outside than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. No. It doesn't work that way. It works from the inside out, not from the outside in. So once you internalize Ki ani Hashem Eloikechem, automatically you will shine out and oid milevado. Now, I'm going back to the beginning question we had, the philosophical question. How can I love and at the same time fear? How can I get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? How can I really feel and oid milevado? How can I really feel Hashem wa Eloikim? I would like to feel it. How do I feel all the great things we said? It's great words. Im loich Hashem le'olam Eloikayich Tzion. How do I feel it? How do I feel happy to go to shul? Actually, when it's time, I even go ahead of time. I feel the need to go to shul. I feel the need to daven. The answer is, if you have it in your heart and pretend to have it like the goyim, these people, they try to give us, to feed us their philosophy. Once you feel it's an emotion is like a flame. It's up now. When there's no more oil, it's gone. The das, it's a forever burning fire. Once you start to learn Hasidus, once you start to learn the inside of the Torah, the inside of the psukim, automatically you see a light. It's not dry anymore. You don't feel human anymore. It's, oh my God, I discover a light. That light attracts you. This is ahava. Ahava makes you go forward. Oh, where is the fear? The fear is to go backward. They're not both on the same place. Now, every time we human, we are going to step backward. And this is all the time our fear, because we're going to lose proximity to that light. And we're not going to have the same intense feeling of being close to the light. And that's going to make us fear from sinning. This is how a person is saved in this life. Now, things that happen in a movie outside, this deal here and this deal here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided it by the Tkir Shofar on Rosh Hashanah already, all this. You have nothing to worry. If you are worrying, means you are not under the light. And you still have to work, and we still have to work as long as we live to get more proximity to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, more proximity to the light, in order to feel even more and to also shine, ourselves to shine. So if I want to talk in concrete words, how do I get to the light? Reb Shimshon Meostropoli says, I have no words. No words for this. Any person who is at a time of hardship, who is Chachman al-Itzlan, that we should, no one should know, nobody in Am Yisrael, in sorrows of Parnasa, sorrows of children, no children, sorrows of name it what, health, name it, should take the Aseres, the 10 plague, the 10 makos, and start learning them and start going into them. Meaning, not just reading the pasuk, start learning the miracle of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The names that of Hashem that shined during Mitzrayim made all the klipa, made all the sitra achra, made all the evil spirits and evil forces run away from the Jews. The Jews had full protection, they were not touched. If you want me to tell you something, I didn't plan to tell you this, but I will tell you now because I touched this. It says, Moshe told Paro, Vesamti fedus, and I will put a separation between you and the Bnei Israel. You will see the plagues will happen on your side, but not on the other side. The Machseif Alavan, Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzera, Zechus Yagan Aleinu, says, what kind of a word is pedus? Interesting word. It's not a common word. Don't even know if it's repeated again in the Torah. It's very possible it's the only place. He says, pay attention to the letters. You have a pei, you have a saf. First letter, pei, saf. If you put them together, it's pas, like bread, which is 480. But really 480, why is pas called pas? It's 480, because someone who walks on crumbs, the Gemara says he's punished, in Shabbos he's punished by poverty. How is he punished by poverty? Oh, it's not Hashem that does it. It's the malachim. The malachim has a key to poverty. And He is being called upon when someone walks on bread. Doesn't pay attention, doesn't respect crumbs on the floor. Hashem said, the malachim with all his armies were in Mitzrayim. And the Dalet in the middle showed the break. Broke him in two. Dalet is 4. Yud Ke Vav Ke. The name, the tetragram of HaKadosh Baruch Hu came down and broke him, and they were running, each one wherever they could go. They disappeared. When someone learns, says Reb Shimshon Mostropoli, when someone is at a time of need, so we saw last week the segula of the Chida to go after the name Yehirotzain Yehirotzain Ifnei Hashem Keya Shekeye Shetases Bakashasi. We saw last week, and this one is from Shimshon Mostropoli, that any hardship, any evil, any darkness will disappear as soon as you start learning. Take Dam, take Sefadeya, take in whatever pasuk you want in the 10 markers. Yehi Ratzain, that the light should shine on each one of you and each one of Bnei Yisrael, so they will feel, once you see the light, automatically you're drawn to it. You don't even have to force the love. It's really, your chest is pumped like this, and you're being drawn to the light, which is the light of Hashem. And automatically, once the light of Hashem shines in you, no evil spirit can attach itself to you. And even if Chaz Hashem we fall, but we know the direction with the light.
Amen.
Have a great Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
Shabbos, Shkoyach, magnifique.